Hey everybody, we are live at No Cover TV. How's everybody doing? It is Monday and another fun-packed week we have got in store for you. I tell you what, on this week we have got so many different types of artists. We've got country singers, we have got pop artists, we have got bands. Me and Big Al are going to be absolutely cracking it up this week. We've got about 8 artists we're going to be working all week for you live on our YouTube channel. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed tonight's show. Al will be back with you tomorrow, and I think I'm back with you tomorrow as well. So you've got plenty to be doing this week. But, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to introduce you to a very, very, actually, I'm going to say close friend of mine, because I think we've seen each other before, and we've only just found out tonight that actually we come from a very, very similar place in Cambridgeshire. And you know what, Johnny, I'm just going to start the show this evening to say that I'm really disappointed. But disappointed in the fact that you come from Cambridgeshire, but that you haven't got a broad American accent. And I'm going to tell you later in the show why that is, okay? So, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to give to you and Mr. Johnny Westwood. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Adrian. It's good to be here.
Fantastic. So, Johnny, you put on the hat, mister, and you've got the picture that we've all put up behind you.
I sure did.
Yes, sure did. I tell you what, it's not washing with me tonight. I'll tell you, because you know, we've just said that, you know, I was expecting this like broad American accent, and you're from the Fens, you know, basically in the UK, in Cambridgeshire. So that broad American accent that, you know, I've been wanting to hear all day is gone completely. We've gone to completely Fen. So if everybody don't understand our UK Fenny accent, we will try our best, because you've got a presenter and you've also got a singer who talks in the same way. But Johnny, actually, you can help me. Okay, so Johnny, speaking to Tammy last week, I was taking the mick out of between Al and Tammy for using the word bath. Because I said about, you know, writing song lyrics in the bath, and they ripped into me whatsoever. You know, it was absolutely crazy. It's a bear. I think they just don't understand our language. So hopefully during this show, they're going to understand our language a bit better.
Yeah.
So Johnny,
sorry, go on.
No, you go for it. You go for it.
I said I've got so many American friends. And I'm sure half of them didn't realise that I was British. But there you go. Now, I'm sorry, folks, but...
Sorry, folks. The dream has gone. He's got this Fenny accent. Yeah, it's shattered up. And also the ladies as well. I can say from your picture behind you, a bit of a ladies' man. I'm sure when the ladies come and see your shows, I'm sure they come and see you, not just for your music.
Well, I don't have that Tom Jones appeal where you get Snickers chucked. I haven't got to that. I haven't got to those pantyhose things being chucked at me just yet, but you never know.
That's not yet. It could be depending on the next album and the next single, yeah?
Yeah.
So, Johnny...
a lot of offers. I have had a lot of offers, especially on that Facebook thing.
Yes, we'll go through that a bit later. I want to really dig into a bit more of that, young man. I've been reading your Facebook all day, and I've seen the poems, and I've seen all the midnight stories, and you know the poems and poets and all that sort of stuff, and the links to vampire. There's a lot we have got to talk to. We have got about 45 minutes here with Johnny Westwood, and we've got lots to ask him. So I'm going to quickly go through a little bit of your career highlights. Okay, I'm not going to go through them all, or I'm going to be here all freaking day. It was a big bio, but we don't just have a country singer. We also have a screenwriter, an actor, you know, someone who writes books. You know, we've got somebody who has been through an absolutely amazing career. So to go through the whole of your bio, we would be here for days. So there's some screenshots of some of the big things that you've done throughout your career. And I hope you like some of the ones which I've chosen and some of the ones you can talk about later on in the show.
I might have to put my glasses on for this, you know.
You might have to put no, we could have them later. Anyway, Johnny is an actor and a singer, and an author and a songwriter and a screenwriter. And you're not from the USA, you're from Cambridge in the UK.
Sorry.
You're never going to say sorry. It's a great place to live. If anybody wants to play a good gig, and we can talk about this later in the show, actually, Cambridge is really renowned for great singers. You know, Ed Sheeran, had an amazing track that he done in Cambridge, and also University of Cambridge. It's got some great history, great culture in Cambridge, and we've produced some great music artists in Cambridgeshire. You know, so it's an amazing place. So as a country singer, Johnny Westwood has built up a huge following across the globe, including his fan base in the USA and I gather in the UK as well. Okay, Johnny also was signed for Echota Records in the USA. That isn't your record label now, is it? You've changed, haven't you?
No, I'm now with Country Roads Records.
Okay.
There was a lovely lady that was with Echota Records, and she passed away after forming Country Roads Records, and I just went with her. Because she knew me, she got me. She was great fun, and everybody liked her, Nisi Howard, and but sadly she passed away. So the record label has carried on, thank goodness. A great guy called Mick is running it now with another guy called Rick and a team. They've got a great team behind them, and I've been very lucky with them, really. They've looked after me, you know, they've been brilliant.
That's fantastic. It's always good to have a good record label and a record company looking after you, making sure you've got all your gigs lined up properly and you've got the support that you need. And, you know, people help with your promotion and things like that, you know, so it's really lovely to hear that you've got someone really supportive.
Yeah, it is hard to get a decent label. I mean, Echota were very good as well. I've got to be honest, I never had any problems with Echota. I only moved over because of Nisi. Otherwise I wouldn't have moved. I'd have stayed, and we had some great times. I mean, I got my first award while I was with Echota.
You've had many awards, and we're going to be talking about those in the show very, very much, because obviously this is where me and you sort of link up between the International Singer-Songwriters Association, and I will be putting a question to you about that, because, you know, we've only got a few weeks left. You must be very excited, but we'll cover that later on in the show.
The lovely Tammany. Oh, I love her. I think she's lovely. I just watch all her posts. I love listening to her and watching her because she's so passionate, and I love that.
She is. She's very passionate about what she does. She's very supportive to all the artists that she looks after. Yeah. And she's an amazing woman. You know, I had her on a show only last week with Big Al. Yes. We had such fun. She ripped us apart. We thought we were going to rip her apart and get one over on her, but nah, she ripped us apart. She had us almost doing, you know, the laundry and everything for our missus. You know, we were torn down as presenters, you know, so she's great fun. I really love working with her. So anyway, this show is about you in relation to country artists. You built up we said about building up a huge following. You also have had an amazing career. You, in your bio, I can't believe all the people you've worked with, including probably one of my favorite female artists, Madonna. You know, you have gone through a lot.
It was funny that the story with the way it was with Madonna. She was really nice. I've got to be honest.
She was.
She was. She really was. Not to the director. She didn't like him on set. Hated him. I don't know whether it was just a banter thing going on. I'm not sure. But what it was, my agent, bless him, he's not with us anymore. Vic Lee, he was just the best agent you could wish for, and he got. Phoned me up. He said, "I've got you an audition. And, it's with Maverick Productions. So I really want you to go for it." And I thought, I know Maverick Productions. I've heard of that. Why do I know that? Well, it was Madonna's company. Wow. So anyway, I went down to, I think it was held in, where was it now? Camden. I think it was Camden. The auditions in London. Well, I was living in London anyway. And so I went down to Camden, went along to the audition. They wanted 25 people to be in the background because obviously it's a music video. Yeah. You know, you're not a star. It's Madonna's video. You're just going to be, well, now I'm in it. And if you blink, you miss.
Exactly.
It's that quick. And I ended up being a paparazzi. She wanted first as a doorman. And I wasn't sort of like muscular enough, you know. They wanted who was 6'5" and broad and this, that. So I ended up being a paparazzi, but it was good. I did it. I got paid 50 quid. And that
50 quid for Madonna, seriously?
50.
With all of her money that she made in the 80s, you were given 50 quid, surely?
I got 50 quid, and that was for a day and a night shoot.
Oh my God.
Did it.
Did she at least give you a copy of her album for free?
The only thing I got was a pass.
Jesus.
Was a pass. And them days, you know, they didn't have mobile phones with cameras on and stuff like that. So you couldn't even take any selfies or anything like that. Not that you'd be allowed, but it was quite funny, really. I mean, she was brilliant, but for 50 quid, I mean, come on. I did it. The reason why I did it is my agent said it'll look brilliant on your CV if you get the gig. And I got it. And because, you know, to work, you can put Madonna's company down and work with Madonna. You can just say that. So yeah.
And even Madonna, you know, you go on, and that was the next part of your introduction. You know, you screenwrite, and you've had singles. You've been in things like Kiss Me Kate. You also were in South Pacific. You know, in terms of having connections to that. So, wow,
yeah, what
a bio.
I was a chorus boy at the Arts Theatre in Cambridge.
You was a chorus boy, was you?
I was a chorus boy. I was in the chorus for South Pacific. Then I ended up moving from that, and I was playing, you know, it's not cameo roles or not lead roles, but supporting roles in musical theatre. So I did an awful lot of musical theatre and toured as well. Did Blood Brothers and Kiss Me Kate and even Handicap, I think I did at one point. There was so many different shows I did in musical theatre. And even when I was in London, I did a lot of musical stuff as well on the Fringe. So music's always been there with me ever since I was an actor. But when people say, "Oh, you're a singer," I always sort of say I'm actually an actor that sings, you know, because I started off as an actor. That's what I started off as, and it just sort of has progressed into other things.
So that was my first question. You've already answered it for me. You know, Johnny, you have been through an amazing, you know, career through acting, through screenwriting, through like country and western. You know, you've written books. You know, when you was growing up as a child, did you really think that this is your life that you was going to have? What was you thinking when you was youngster?
That's a good question. When I was growing up, like, and you know, a young teenager, and maybe even before that, you know, I was fascinated with Doctor Who and fantasy and all of that stuff. And I always was glued wanting to be on the television. I thought, I'd love to be on the television. I'd love to be on that stage or something. And I used to actually build theatres out of cardboard boxes. I did all the scenery and everything. I hadn't even been to a theatre at that time. Didn't know how it worked, but I was using my imagination. And then, of course, going to a theatre and seeing, I just fell in love with the theatre. And I've always loved stage.
So where did music come in? How old were you when you started singing, sort of, and doing country western and sort of, you know, doing your singing career? Because that's why you're here today, you know. So where did the singing part? What age were you?
Probably, and I mean it, probably about 6, because I used to play. I used to stay at weekends at my grandparents, my nan and granddad, and I used to play all their records. And there was Jim Reeves, Slim Whitman, you know, all the old country stars, especially Jim Reeves. I think I knew all the words when I was little to Jim Reeves songs. I think I could, you know, do all that. Slim Whitman, I always wanted to yodel. My granddad do a bit of yodeling, but I always wanted to be able to yodel, and I knew Slim Whitman yodeled, and I've never done yodeling in my show, by the way. I haven't. I've recorded a few songs like it, but I've never done it. But not to the extent of yodeling that Slim Whitman did. But so I was really young when I got into country music, And I never realized it was even country music because I was that young. It was, to me, they were songs I liked. You know, I don't think you realize, because even on the front cover, I think Jim Reeves, he didn't wear a cowboy hat on the front cover of the album, if I remember rightly.
Not that I'm aware of. I remember that album.
Yeah, I don't even know if Slim Whitman did. But as I say, they were just music. It was just music to me. And that music stood out more than all the other records. And there was quite other. I mean, there was Del Doonigan and all sorts I could have fell in love with. But I didn't. It was country music. And that was it. And then I suppose, that was it. Oh, and Glenn Campbell. Glenn Campbell's another one. Played all Glenn Campbell's songs. I loved Rhinestone Cowboy. In fact, Rhinestone Cowboy was the first record I bought. I saved my pocket money up and bought that.
Was that the old days of the £1 note? Was it, in terms of like going up to buy a single? I think I bought that one. I'm sure I did.
50 or 35 pence or something for a single. Something like that. Andy's Records in Cambridge.
Andy's Records in Cambridge. I used to say
or on the market.
Cambridge Market, yeah. It was like three for £1 in those days. I tell you, it was great, wasn't it? You know, you go down to a record store, you go down to the market. Me and my partner were talking about that. We were talking about the fact that a lot of American artists have gone back to CDs and CD players and taking their CDs on tour and things like that. And she was saying, I probably would never go back there. And I was thinking, actually, I think I would. I really miss the days of buying CDs, going to Cambridge Market and buying a CD single for the week.
It's having the physical thing in your hand rather than this download stuff. And
I know.
I've got to be honest, there was a huge lull, and I'm sure every artist will back me up on this. Since the streaming hit the internet and all of that business, CD sales stopped at gigs. You didn't sell as many. I certainly didn't sell as many, and I used to be selling, sometimes I'd be selling 10, 15, maybe 20 on an evening.
Yeah.
You couldn't keep up. And now, people, I went to Spain a couple of weeks ago and I didn't take any CDs with me. And I did a few guest spots while I was out there because I didn't have a choice, to be fair. I wanted to go just for a holiday. And I just,
Johnny Westwood's in town. I'm sorry, you're going to be singing down the local pub.
Exactly. So I ended up doing a few guest spots. Anyway, I got asked, have you got a CD? Or the old ladies would say, have you got a tape?
Have you got a tape?
I said, no, I haven't got a tape. I've not got a CD. So I did bring, and I thought, that's just typical, isn't it? Just typical.
We were talking about the ladies. I'm gonna pick this bone now. I think. Do you know what, Johnny? That fantastic picture behind you has caused a bit of a stir in my house.
That one there.
Yeah. So I'll tell you why. Where my partner in crime, Vanessa, basically has been very supportive to me in the music career, but she does keep an eye over my shoulder when she's looking at the artists coming on. Just have a look at who's coming on the show, and even if you're watching now, Vanessa, and not doing your work upstairs, I told you I was bringing this up. So basically, last night I was sorting out my show for the week. And basically, Vanessa looks over my shoulder and says, "Oh, who's that?" And I said, "Which one are you looking at?" And she said, "Johnny Westwood. That with the goatee and with the cowboy hat and things like that. She's been all right, she." I was like, "Hang on a minute, wait! I'm bloody doing interviews, lady. Wind it in a bit." And she's like, "Anyway, we were looking for your profile." I was like, "Oh, a bit of a ladies' man." I'll tell you what, picture, mate. There's no wonder. What I was saying to you in terms of the stage work, you haven't had any knickers thrown at you, but I'm sure you've had a few.
Another one,
a few notes, yeah.
Oh yeah, I've had a few love letters. I
bet you have. I bet you have.
I have. I've had. I've been quite fortunate in some ways and not in others. But I've had oil paintings done of me. I've had sketches done. I've had artwork sent to me. Love letters, and I've also had frilly unmentionables posted on pictures of what they're wearing.
Wow.
Things like I've had actually all the whole was I've had the lot sent to me.
The life of a country singer, but also as an actor as well.
Yeah, and I get the pings in the middle of the night. I've got the phone by the bed, and I've got these pings going, ping, and it's
Yes,
my
I
phone.
bet you do. Yeah, Johnny Westwood's hotline. It's not his agent phoning. It's the lady saying, "Do you mind if we go for a date?"
Yeah, it really is. I got only this week. If I never move from this spot, I got a message in the middle of early hours of the morning. Hi, Johnny. Why are you single? It's on my profile. I've got single. You see.
I know. I saw that.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, I had to hold my missus down on the bed, you know, and stop her from coming downstairs this evening, you know. So I've left her tied up upstairs. I don't think she'll come and interrupt. But, you know. But Johnny, you are definitely fluttering a few eyes with that voice of yours, and also those pictures behind you, you know. So yeah, so that's my bone to pick with you. Stop putting so much. Look, I'm even having to try and copy you. Look, Johnny, look.
Yeah,
I'm starting the beard thing going on. I'm going
a bit grey now. Look,
I know. I think you're cheating with those pictures. I think they're a few years ago, aren't they?
That one there, that was taken in 2020, I think, or 21.
That's not too bad. Oh, you're looking good for your age then, buddy. Seriously.
Yeah, I'm 56 next month.
No way, you 56.
I am next month. 56.
Really? Oh my God, you're doing good for your age, mate. Doing very good for your age. Yeah. I tell you what, can you send some of those vitamins over from Norfolk? Yeah. Because I need them.
Those vitamins. No, you see what it is. I'll share a secret with you.
Go on.
With the breasts hanging, it takes all the lines out of the face.
I tell you what, I'm a big bloke, and I'm happy to say that live on air. You know, I'm a big bloke, and I tell you what, the bloody lines are still there. They're not going anywhere. Anyway, get off the lines, get off the big boobs. Let's go on to your next question. So you're a writer of horror books. You've got a big love for Dracula, a big love of horror.
Yes.
You know, you've got 3 or 4 books out at the moment, which is in your bio. But also, you know, in terms of the movie world, you've met Christopher Lee. You know, you've been in some great script writing and some great movies in terms of horror and vampires and things like that. Where's the connection between country music and horror stories? I really want to know. Dig in your mind about how that's come about.
Well, that started at also a very, very young age. As I said earlier on, I was brought up watching like things like Doctor Who, and then I saw, where was it? I think I watched. What was it? I got a book. I had a book, a movie book, which I bought, and in it had got Christopher Lee as Dracula, and that was it. I was like, oh my God, Christopher Lee mad. I thought, oh, this man, I've got to see anything he does. And I watched a film when I used to go around my nan's at the weekends and granddad's. They could get London television, and we couldn't. And there was a Dracula film on. Called Dracula Has Risen from the Grave, which is as old as me. It was made in 1968. and I watched it as a kid, and I was hooked. That was it. I was totally hooked then on Christopher Lee. I wanted to meet him. I wrote to him. I wrote when he was on TVAM once, and I wrote to him, and he sent me an autograph. Oh my God, I've got Christopher Lee's autograph. I was so excited. Well, it turned out, long story short, when I was living in London, I was a bookworm. I loved reading. And a friend of mine, Jeffrey, he'd got a bookshop just off of the Strand called Crime in Store. And I knew that Christopher Lee had re-released his autobiography. This was 1997. And I'd previously seen him before that as well, personally. That was at Peter Cushing's memorial service, which I was invited to. And there was only about Oh, there weren't that many guests. There's about 200 in the church, and it was a who's who of British cinema. To be honest, they were all there for the cushion. Yeah, but anyway, later on, Jeffrey, who'd got Crime in Store bookshop, I went in and said, "Have you got this book coming out? Christopher Lee has got a autobiography coming." No, he said, but he's coming in to do a book signing. I went, "You are joking." He said, "Yeah, next
run."
I went, "Oh my God." I said, "I'm a huge fan." He goes, "Oh, he's a good friend of mine. Let me ring him up, see if he'll meet you." And that was it. And he phoned him up there and then. He said, "Sit there." He phoned him up there and then. Christopher said, "Tell him to get there an hour early and I'll meet up with him." And we hit it off. We used to meet up regularly. Well, not I say regularly, whenever he was free
So does he inspire your book writing and your movies around vampires and things? Is that what's?
Yes, the first book called Breeding, which is that one.
Yeah.
That is actually, it's got a dedication to Christopher Lee in it.
Fantastic. And then that's one of 3 or 4. You've got 3 or 4 books out at the moment.
I've got 2 books out. I've got that one, and the other one is called The Secret in the Cellar, and that's more of a fantasy adventure.
I think that's what I looked at that one. I like fantasy stories. I think that's one I'm going to read first. I'm really interested.
It's fun. It's not such a big novel as the other one. It's got a follow up. I'm actually on my 5th novel at the moment, but I've only published. I've only had 2 published. I'm sort of like wondering when to release the next ones. You know.
I think it's about time, young man, because I've also seen on your Facebook you're doing screenwriting at the moment. Is this a new film that's coming out? Or new?
Well, there's many projects. My agent is in talks with a production company in the UK. We're waiting to find out if they want it or they don't want it. And unfortunately, this process takes so long. And I've been in this position so many times where that you get right to the end and it's yes, and then the rug gets pulled from your feet. So I'm always got my thing, my hand praying, that it's going to be okay. That's a situation comedy. That's a cop which I really think we desperately need, because I was a great fan. Yeah, well, I was a great fan of the comedies. I was a great fan of, Are You Being Served and Ain't Our Fault, Mum, and Fawlty Towers, all those old comedies that were funny. Yeah. Not like the stuff that you get today. It's not funny. I don't find it funny.
We were talking before the show this evening when we were talking about funny things that happened to you in your career, and we're very famous over here in Torquay for Fawlty Towers. That's a great program in terms of the UK. So, but you were saying that actually you visited my neck of the woods. You've been here. You've had a bit of a bad experience
many times and oh yes, sorry. Torquay, yes, absolutely. Paynton.
Yeah, you said you had a bit of a bad experience.
A very bad experience.
Go on, tell the audience about it, because I'll tell you what, it's not all fun and roses being an actor, being a singer. Come on, what happened?
Well, I was asked to do a show. I went and auditioned, obviously, and then they agreed on me doing it. It was a musical, and it was called Candle in the Wind. And I'm not joking, we were all employed as singers to do songs. And they were all songs that apparently Princess Diana absolutely loved. And it was all about Princess Diana's life. And it was a tribute to Princess Diana. Unfortunately, the timing was dreadful. It was literally months after her death that they wanted to do this. And I don't care. I'm going to say it. We didn't get paid, and we were literally taken off at the Royal Opera House in Manchester, right, which was our last show. I'll go back to Paynton in a minute. It was our last show. And we were told in the interval of the matinee that it would be our last performance. So make the most of it. They're taking it off to redo the scenery. They've had complaints that the scenery isn't very good. Well, I'm not surprised, because it was painted candles at the side would come from a pantomime set. It was dreadful, right? And it was called.
It's still there for the Christmas pantomime, probably.
Oh yeah, more than likely. Anyway, when we came off the show to get paid, everybody had done a runner. We never saw no money. We never saw no money. So they'd gone. That was the story of Candle in the Wind. But going back to Paynton, we were in Paynton, and of course that got round what it was about, and it really was. People that took a dislike to it. Even the press had turned up. We weren't allowed out of the theatre in Paynton, and it was a beautiful theatre. We weren't allowed out of it. Well, they said, "No, you can't go out there. You'll get mobbed." So we stayed in with sandwiches until it was all died down and everybody had been told to go away. You know, it really was a big thing.
You said you had lots and lots of fun in sunny Paynton. It hasn't changed that much. I'll tell you. Paynton's lovely, really. I love
Devon. Yeah, I love Cornwall. I love Devon. I love all around that coastline. It's a great coastline.
It is a lovely coastline, and you have to come and visit us when you're up here. Listen, I've been through your bio. You've had loads and loads of awards, but we are looking towards the final few weeks of the ISSA, awards coming up, and you are in for 5 categories, young man. You're hoping you're there for a big awards night. Can you tell us a little bit about the categories?
Yeah, the categories. You'll have to excuse. I've had to put my glasses on now because the age is now.
It's catching up with you, young man.
Catching up, yeah. Now I've written down. I'll tell you why I've had to write these down, because I've been nominated. I've been 3 different awards this year.
You are.
The JMA's and Fair Play Red Carpet Awards in Holland as well. But the ISSA Awards, which is coming up, it's August, isn't it?
It's in August, yep.
Yeah. Now,
are you going? Are you flying over?
I was, but then circumstances have let me down. I can't do it now. I've got other commitments which I've got to stay here for, so I can't do it. But I thought I was going to be in the States. That's why I was going to go. I thought I was going to be in LA, and it's sort of like been pulled back. So we're not now. So so I can't really afford to go out 2 or 3 times a year. Too expensive. But I know that I'm nominated for Rising Star, Songwriter of the Year, and Album of the Year. But you're quite right. I was nominated for. I have 5 nominations in 5 different categories. I think the other one was vocalist. And
I'm having a word with Tammy about Rising Star. Do you know what? The amount of people I've interviewed, and they're like, Rising Star, this young man's been around the block. He's not a Rising Bloody Star.
Yeah, you know what? I just find it all a bit fun, and it's all great. And I think whoever wins, or whatever you win, it's not about that. It's about being recognised for your work, and I think that's more of it to me. That's more of what it's all about to me, is about recognition. Because people say, "Oh, you must be rich." No, there's no money in it. But it's getting recognised. It's something I love doing. I'm passionate about. I write all my own songs, and I'm literally on my 5th album. It's not easy. I've got to be honest, I have the most fantastic producer that I work with, Henry Smith. You should really get him on your show as well if you haven't already had him.
No, I haven't had him yet, but we'll catch up with him.
Well, he's a country artist in his own right, for one.
Fantastic.
And he's also an amazing producer. He does all my music. I write all the lyrics. Now we phone each other up. We're on a call like we're doing now. Oh, I like it like that. What about this? Oh yeah, but what about that? So by the time we've finished, we've got a song, or something of a skeleton of a song, and then we just go with it. And that's
I think that's what's good about the International Singer-Songwriters Association. I'm working with an artist at the moment to look at me doing one of mine, because I've got to finish my album off. But
Yeah.
we're going to be working together to get my album finished. And that's what I like about it. Is that, you know, they are all artists who are very busy. They are playing through, you know, from the local supermarket to being in front of thousands of people, you know, but they're all genuine, lovely, amazing people who will help you out, who will support you, who will work with you on, you know, singles and albums, and everybody's got time for everyone, and that's brilliant.
Helpful. Yeah, they bend over backwards to help.
They do. I'm going back to your Dracula theme. You know, actually, if you were to bite some of the artists and get them into your gang, you know, who are the artists who have really sort of stepped up this year and, you know, are going to go for one of those awards? Has there anyone caught your eye?
What out of all the other artists?
Out of all the other artists, about, you know, we've got loads of amazing singers and bands and things like that. God. I asked Tammy this question, and she just said there was too many to choose from.
Yeah, I'm just going to say the same. I mean, I think, I don't know if Rick Snyder is in for any awards, but
I think he is. Yeah,
mentioning his name. He's such a good artist, and I think he probably is up for an award of some description with the ISSA. I just think he shouldn't even be an independent artist. Personally, I think he's just...
and I think there's many artists in that group.
There are.
You think, do you know what? How are you independent? How are you not signed up? And how are you not getting into the top 20 or, you know, top 10 charts?
I've said this many times. There is more talent in the independent artists category than there are out there now as people making music. I got to be honest, I actually cringe when I hear some of these pop stars that are supposed to be good. They're not.
I was talking to Eileen. I think I was talking to Eileen Spring a few weeks ago, and we were talking about Christmas #1s. And I was like, do you know what? Any of our artists who can do as a good Christmas #1 in the UK, I'll be really happy, because I'm fed up with singing about sausage rolls.
Yeah. I mean, I've got some. I'm not putting everybody out there in that same category. There are some amazing pop stars.
We've got some amazing talent, like we were saying with Cambridge, with Ed Sheeran. You know, we are very blessed. Absolutely. Amazing singers.
And people like Ed Sheeran, you know that they're going to go on forever and ever and ever, because they've just got that voice and they've got that talent. Like Gary Barlow, got that talent. They've got that voice. They will just keep going.
We've got you know, with Adele, you know, with our female artists, we've got some great artists here in the UK.
Yeah, we really have. But country artists, there are so many up and coming country artists. I mean, I couldn't even name. There are so many on the ISSA alone. You know what I just listen to all the time. I just listen to them all, because I like listening to music, and I like listening to country music, and they are good.
They are good. I tell you what, it's a good advert. It's a good advert, this video, for independent artists. I think, do you know what? Actually, I agree with you. Let's get these independent artists heard. Let's get them to record labels. Let's get them all signed up, because actually, I think they deserve it. They work blooming hard, you know, with their careers. And some of them don't want fame. Some of them just want to be playing to their friends and their families and the fans that they've made. But do you know, there's some of them out there who are really trying really hard. And that was one of the reasons at No Cover TV we support, you know, these independent artists, you know, and get them onto the show, because we want to showcase them, and we want them to be successful in their careers. And like you say, that music and that talent is amazing. I think that's where ISSA really shines, and I think we're going to see a great year for independent artists.
Oh yeah, totally. Really, very much so.
So you've got a new album out at the moment, Now and Forever. How's it going? Is it going well since it's been out?
As far as I know, it's going very well. I'm getting lots of requests. So, yeah, it's going very well. Some great tracks on it as well.
Which one's your favourite?
Oh, my God, that's a real difficult one.
I dig.
My Little Cherokee is a good one. I like that. Banjo. Now, this is like bluegrass. And I've never written a bluegrass song before. And actually, it's up for an award. Not with ISSA. In Holland, I believe. I think that's up for a bluegrass award, which I've never been up for one of those awards for. Banjo is quite a good one. Trying to remember which ones I've got on there now. So many. There's 10, I think. Tight blue jeans and bright red boots. That I actually released that. Nashville on Track. My God, there's so many. That Old Red Ribbon. There's a song on there called The Old Red Ribbon. That's a really nice song. That's probably one of my favourites on the album, and it's very much I was channeling Jim Reeves, I think, on that one. It's very much like you can imagine Jim Reeves singing that.
I've been really enjoying your music all day, and I've been listening to it. And I think one of the ones which was with me all day was the Sunny Beaches, the Beaches song.
Oh, Sandy Beaches.
Yeah, that was mine because it reminded me of being at home. It's raining. It's typical Torquay day. It was raining.
Yeah,
but I was imagining Sunny Beaches, and I listened to that song a couple of times, and it cheered me up.
Yeah, Sandy Beaches is a good song.
Where did that one come from?
Well, what I do is I like to chill, and there was an album that Kenny Chesney wrote, and that was Be As You Are, I think it was called, and it was all chilling out, beachy songs. And I thought, I'd like to do a song like that. So I just sort of wrote about being on the... And because I lived by the sea in Spain for 20 years nearly, I just absolutely felt... I just try to remember all those feelings I had. And I just wrote the song. I think it only took me about 10 minutes to write that song because I just had these lyrics automatically coming in my head.
It's about the sea. I wrote a single for the ONLI, and I think a lot of my writing comes when I'm down by the sea. It's just something tranquil about writing down at the sea. You get amazing ideas, and they're really, really quick. So do you know what?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, mate, I still need to get back to my first question about holding you back with the women, especially after I let go Vanessa at the end of the show and I allow her downstairs. She's starting to scream at me, will she ever be let out? But I will be I will. I'll be letting her out in a minute. I'm just making sure that I get you off the screen first. So I will be letting her off the handcuffs and letting her come downstairs. But, you're a ladies' man, young man, and in relation to the Beaches, I think, you're a single man at 54. You're looking good for your age. I'm not a dating show, but there must be that lady out there who can, whisk you off your feet. I know you don't have much time for women, but, there must be some young ladies out there who we can match you up with. But in relation to young ladies...
Fitting them in, I mean, they're lined up down this road, you wouldn't believe they right
line up down. All right, okay, stop bragging. Okay, so if we're taking the ladies out, in terms of taking them on a date, if you were to choose an actor and a singer, who would you take out for a date along that beach, for a nice beach walk? So let's go for an actor first. Who's the actor you would love to take out on a date? I've got you. You've worked with many great actors in your life. Who is that one date you'd love to take out?
Probably Sandra Bullock.
Sandra Bullock, good choice. Why have you gone for Sandra Bullock?
I think she'd make me laugh.
She'd make you laugh. Fantastic.
Yeah, I don't think it would be such a serious date. Yeah, I think
some comedy in your life. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be fun.
And female singer, who would you like to date?
Female singer. Well, I've got to be honest. Unfortunately, that female singer is no longer with us.
Okay.
That would have been.
She must be amazing. Go on.
I live in Newton-John. I had a crush on. Oh my God, I had a crush on. Yeah, so it would have to be a live. I'm sorry, but that's the best I can do on choices because there isn't any. All these other ones, these new ones, they've all got like Botox and their lips look like ducks. I couldn't get close to one of them. I'm sorry.
I'm sure I saw on one of your posts in terms of like being in Greece. I'm sure you were comparing yourself.
More than likely.
Yeah, more than likely. So there you go, ladies. Live on No Cover TV. You have heard it first. The type of ladies that Johnny Westwood would like to take out. Okay, so if you are looking like one of those lovely ladies and you see Johnny Westwood anywhere in terms of his music or in terms of his shows, there you go. Your luck's going to be in. You might sweep him off his feet. So, Johnny, you know, we have probably got a couple minutes left. Let's find out what's going on for the next few months. What's going on for Johnny Westwood? Where are we? What are we doing for the rest of the year? You're going to be a busy man by the looks of it.
Yeah, really busy. I'm writing. That's what I'm doing for the next for the rest of the year. I'm writing, and I will probably I'll probably go backwards and forwards to wherever I'm asked to go. To be honest, really. I can't say too much about the movie side of things because that's all under disclosure. But
secret.
Lots of things that But there's a lot going on. I'm writing at the moment my 13th feature film.
Wow.
And yeah,
I can't believe where you get all the time, young man. And in between all that, are we going to be seeing you on tour singing? Are we going to be seeing you down the local pub club? That's
another thing. There may be a few concerts happening this year if I'm not whisked away.
If you're not whisked away by by your agents or whisked away by a lovely young lady, you haven't got much going on.
It really is that close at the moment. So I'm a bit hard to commit to anything. I'm a bit worried about committing to anything, but I think there will be one or two concerts because I'm actually with another agent at the moment called Progressive Productions, and they're looking to put me on doing a few shows in theatres, which would be great, which would be really good.
Do you ever sleep?
No.
No, you are actually, Johnny. Looking at your profile, I think you are a vampire. I think you just literally up all night. You never go to sleep. You never stop working.
I've played a vampire on many films. On two or three films, I played a vampire, and in fact, one of the films that I've written, which we're working on at the moment, which is in production, is a vampire film. Unfortunately, it's not breeding.
It's not breeding
because a lot of people thought it was going to be breeding.
It could be that. Do you know what? We nearly got to wrap up the show. I could spend the whole of my life, but actually, do you know what? Me and you, I hope we'll be staying in contact at No Cover TV.
Oh yeah,
we are very, very close in terms of where we were born. I've got lots of questions I'm asking you outside of today's show, but. Do you know what? We're going to finally leave the show, everybody, just with a little bit of a reflection on some support for our young artists and artists who have started. I always ask this question because I think it wraps up the show really well because, do you know what? We work with so many artists. We work with so many amazing support artists from pop to country to rock and roll. At the end of the day, for someone starting off, what would be your top 3 tips for someone who wants to be Johnny Westwood?
Oh, right. Okay. First of all, dedication. You've got to want to do. You've got to want to do what you're doing, and you've got to be dedicated to that. You've got to stay in power, and you've got to accept the fact that you're probably not going to be rich.
Yeah, definitely the same age. Definitely. Do you know what, ladies and gentlemen of No Cover TV, I have had an amazing afternoon, an amazing day listening to your music, reading your bios. I'm definitely going to grab that book off you because I think that's going to be amazing read. I love fantasies, and I think the horror stories, I will go and let Vanessa go and basically tell her that there's some great horrors because she's really into a horror movie. So I know we'll be watching those as well. I just want to say a very, very big thank you from No Cover TV, for me and Big Al for joining us at the No Cover TV family. I want to bid you farewell and a good night. And thank you so much for joining us. So a bit of a round of applause, Mr. Johnny Westwood, everybody.
Thank you, Adrian. Thanks for having me as well.
You're very welcome. This will go out to everybody after the show. Take good care of yourself. I'm going to take off the live session now. Goodbye, everyone.